Hi everyone, my name is Kendrick and welcome to ENFP Mail. Today I get to interview Heather. So Heather, welcome.
Hello, thank you. I'm Heather Hatherly. I'm an ISTP female.
Yes, you are like one of the most rare type there is. Like the ISTP female is like almost unheard of. So this is super cool.
Right? Yeah, usually they're all sporty, but I'm a little less sporty and a little bit more lazy.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense with your type, but give us your full type first. Can you give us like the full animal?
Oh yeah, I'm the FM Ti-Se CS and then blast before play at the end.
So you're consume, sleep, blast, play.
Yes.
And what did you think and how did you feel when you got your typing results back?
I felt a little bit like, okay, that makes sense, because when I was trying to type myself using objective personality, I was coming up with like, I am not blast first, but I thought I was an INFJ, and
Yeah.
I'm not an INFJ at all. Like,
Well,
I'm kind of opposite of INFJ.
Well, the thing is, you do have the same functions as an INFJ.
Yeah.
So you see that. You saw that in yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, I used to do function stuff with a friend of mine, and we would just go on and learn all the cognitive functions. She was actually an ENFP too.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
How did you get into the personality stuff?
Just taking quizzes at first. I took a few, and the first one I took ever called me an ISTP, but I was unsure of anything at that time. So I guess I knew myself back then more than I knew myself in my midpoint.
So you were an ISTP to start off with before you became an INFJ?
Yeah, I typed as an ISTP the first time I took a Myers-Briggs test.
Yeah.
And then after I learned more, I questioned it and became, well, I didn't become, but I thought that I was an INFJ.
Right.
And then I talked to Dave and Shan, and they're like, well, we see consume first for you. So that would put you as an ISTP.
You know, I don't know what they mentioned to you or whatnot, but can you guess why ISTP females are so rare? Like, I don't think it's, is it rare online, just online? Like maybe they exist in...
I was actually, back when I was doing the thinking that I was an INFJ, I used to always think it's probably just that people aren't testing and they're just confused on how to answer tests. But for the ISTP, it's like TI first. That's really something that I think society encourages in male children more than female children, because it's more of a logic-based sort of function.
Right, but you know, even with like the objective personality, like you're the only person that is like an ISTP female, right? So you know, it's kind of like it's like the feminine masculine ENFP doesn't exist. Like there's no FM.
Right.
You're also the only feminine masculine ISTP.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. They didn't have any on the document. I guess they might have somebody privately that was like not a celebrity that they typed.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know. I don't feel like it's a rare type, because I guess I am that type, but I guess it might be.
Yeah.
Like they were telling me like, oh yeah, you're a unicorn. I was like, but I would rather just be a normal everyday thing. Like my favorite animal is a rat, and they're like all over the place.
Right. that's so interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, well, why don't we go through your functions first?
Okay.
So you have feminine TI. So what is feminine TI like? That's quite interesting.
It's like I'm opinionated, but at the same time, like, since I have the masculine FE, that is shown more. So I kind of keep my opinions to myself. And like, if I act like I'm agreeing with somebody, sometimes I will act like I'm agreeing with somebody, but inside my head, I'm like, you're full of shit. That's not anything.
Yeah.
And so I just like will keep the peace, but I will also hold to my guns just more privately.
Were you also more movable with your identity because of that feminine TI?
Oh my gosh, my identity. I keep trying to figure out what my identity is. which is why I was like, maybe I'm an INFJ, since that FE would be like, I don't know what I am, but I guess so. Like, I know that I like animals a lot. I am interested in like data science, but at the same time, I'm like, but who am I as a person? Like, I do question it a lot.
What do you mean that who you are as a person? Like what part of that
I,
question are you asking yourself?
like, usually I'm asking my friends. I don't even know how to explain it really, since it's so amorphous. Like, identity in general is a very sorry, my neighbor's dog is outside. It's very fluid and sort of intuitive, and I guess it's hard for me to like put my finger on it and go, yeah, this is what I am, this is who I am.
Do you have their like standard, like, you know, 3 truths or whatever? Do you have like any of that, like, you know, the TI?
Oh, the 3 truths. Well, I am like plant-based diet, so I don't want to harm any animals. That is a big thing for me. As for 3 truths, I hadn't actually thought about it before this interview.
No worries.
So it would take me a while to figure it out and then get back to you.
Gotcha. Let's go with your SE next. So you have masculine SE. So
no, it's the feminine SE as well. My top 2 are both feminine.
Okay, right, sorry. So how do you experience your feminine SE? Do you have a bad memory? Are you bad with time?
Oh, I'm pretty good with memory, and I'm usually better with time than I am today, like, since we got a late start. Yeah, usually I try not to be late for anything, but I think that's because my dad was always late, and it annoyed me so much that I think my TI is like, no, you'll never be late if you can help it. But for my SE being feminine, it's more like I don't know where I'm going sometimes. I'm bad with directions.
Right.
Which, yeah, luckily I'm not the one driving here since I just moved. My roommate is the one driving us around, and so when we get lost, I can look at GPS map and try to figure out how to get us back. But if I don't have a GPS map, unless I've been there like 30 times, I'm not sure where I'm going.
Also with SE, I notice people with SE, they don't like to do the same kind of movement or exercise. Would you say you're like the same way?
I do get bored. I get bored easily, and that's physical and mental stimulation too. Like, I will binge something, and if I don't finish it in 3 days, or like, I'll be bored of it and move on to something else for a while. But I can binge something for 3 days, like I did with the objective personality videos.
You have double feminine consume, so how does that go in part with binging, or, you know, just consuming facts? Or
well, sorry, that's my neighbor's kid. I am good with consuming things. I'm not good at remembering things completely all the time, but I'm not bad at remembering things either, but I do wish that I had masculine SE so I could only consume it once and know what I'm doing all the time.
Right.
That just seems like a superpower to me.
Yeah, because you consume first, but then it's double feminine, so you're probably forgetting a lot of stuff that you consume. So it's
and so I can reconsume it, or if it's something that really interests me, like if it's like facts about like pet rat care, I will remember it even if I've only read it once.
Gotcha.
But I still go back and double check on it afterwards to make sure I'm remembering it correctly, just as a safety net.
You have masculine NI. So what is masculine NI?
Masculine NI, I think it helps me when I am doing data science or like just trying to put pieces together. I have more conviction of, like, I guess, data in general. Like, since my degree was in business analytics, so we did a lot of data analysis there, and I guess the TI and the NI together, they work really well.
They say that people with masculine NI, they have like a vision of the future, and then they disrespect the sensory. So you do whatever it takes.
I'm good at taking the, sorry again, I'm good at taking the sensory and using that to like determine the future.
Right.
So I'm good at determining the future, but without disregarding the sensory.
Gotcha.
So I think that's because of the middle functions. I think I might have to move inside.
Yeah, that's fine. Do whatever you need to do. Yeah.
Oh, he ran inside.
Okay, got it. Okay. So talk about your sleep.
My sleep, I am not very good at meditating, but I do like having my time alone. That is, if I don't have alone time, just so where I can sit and be by myself and only think about what I want to think about and not be interrupted by anyone, then that's my happy place. My roommate, one of my roommates, has a hard time interrupting me.
Yeah.
Like, she'll want to talk to me whenever I'm reading or something, and after one or two times, I just get annoyed.
Yeah. I like how you're getting like tribe tidal waves right in the middle of the interview. Like there's like
right.
So funny. Like you can't make this up. Like,
right.
Yeah. You are NT, so your sleep is NT. So how do you get that NT sleep?
That's the really good with like the data stuff. It's good with just figuring out what is going on and how I'm going to how I'm going to do my day or whatever. I am good with like sticking to plans a little bit better than I think the general ISTP is. Like I don't understand the play blast mentality. Like that, those are my last two animals.
Right.
And yeah, I kind of envy being able to have more of a, like, more motivation to go out and do things and having more energy. Like, I don't have a lot of energy. And sorry, I'm just like completely missing the actual question you asked about the NT being my animal.
Yeah. I mean, you talked about the energy part of the sleep, which is good.
Yeah.
You know, having lower energy because of, you know, sleep above play, especially if play last.
Yeah.
But what about like the, you know, the puzzling of things, you know, like the...
Oh yeah, I do love like Sudoku puzzles and stuff like that. And I did just build a playpen for my rats today. I need a new rug to put underneath it, but I just did that with some like poster boards and duct tape, and it took me like an hour. It wasn't very hard, but just so they have somewhere they can play around because they've been cooped up in their cage.
Right. Talk about your masculine FEs. What is your masculine FE like?
Oh my gosh. I am very patient to a point, but if somebody is going against something that I truly believe in, like I have a very, my family is on a different side of the political spectrum as I am. And I've gotten into so many Facebook arguments that I just like turn into an ugly monster sometimes whenever somebody goes a little bit too far on something that I consider intolerable.
So with FE, people with FE apparently, you know, there's like a tribe values, and then you adhere to the tribe values. So do you find yourself adhering to tribe values? Like, this is my tribe, this is the values that this tribe, my tribe has?
Yeah, I just put myself in a different tribe than most of my family. But like, I'm sure y'all can figure it out. I'm from Texas, and my family is from like the super conservative small town Texas. And I'm just like, okay, but people need help right now. And we need better health care in the US in general.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I've gotten into a lot of arguments because my tribe are the people who need help. and their tribe are the people who are more independent focused.
Yeah.
And so I will protect the people that I care about and the people who don't have anybody to protect them.
Right.
Even if it means going against my family to do it.
Gotcha. Because it's masculine FE, do you also enforce that like values to other people?
Yes. Yes, I definitely do that, because if they're not sticking to what I find like personally valuable, then I just I'm like, I'm done with you. I will like literally excise them from my life if it gets too bad.
Yeah.
Or I will just fight with them for a while.
Gotcha. They said that people with FE, they also like to look at like the like where you stand in the tribe, like the status of the tribe. Do you do that? Like, you put like, okay, this person is higher than this person is higher than this one?
Yeah, usually in my friend group, I tend to take a leadership role, but sometimes when certain people are around, I'll let them like take control. But it's like, I guess when my friend Blake is around, I let him have the reins. But other than that, I tend to be, sorry, I thought that was a bee.
No worries.
Goodness. I can't concentrate. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no worries. I mean, do you need to move to a different room or something, or are you okay? Or?
Yeah, I might have to move to a different room, or at least further away from the screaming. But my roommate is like standing in the kitchen right now, so I won't interrupt her.
Yeah, no worries. I mean, I just think it's kind of hilarious that you know, you're an IP, you're getting tribe title waves like right on live, like
right.
And it only happens to you because you're an IP, you know, obviously.
Right, and then usually it's like nobody would even notice it.
Yeah.
But oh, he hit his head.
Yeah, I just not happy, I guess. No, so even though they're
right.
Yeah, it's such a weird contradiction.
I'm like, I feel bad, but I'm like, well, maybe he'll go inside now.
Yeah. That's so funny. No, I like this because it's like authentic, you know, it's like happening. Mm-hmm. So
right.
You have double masculine blast. What is that double masculine? NF, it's NF also. Double masculine.
Yeah. That has to also go hand in hand with how I get into fights with like NF values, because I guess my my values really do align more towards the NF sort of like side of things.
Yeah. I think the NF part of you is going to be very obvious too, even though it's
because it does feel really obvious to me.
Yeah, and it would make sense why you would type yourself as INFJ before, because like that class is so strong, you know.
It is, and I do really think that I would have had an easier time typing myself if I knew the masculine and feminine of the functions.
Right. How do you experience that double masculine NF blast? Like, are you just like blasting like we should make the world a better place? People need better health care. You know, we need to care for others. Like,
I'm sure if you ask my friends, they would say, yeah, definitely. Well, at least I feel like they would say that. They might say, you don't do it as often as you think, but I don't know. I would have to ask them. But I definitely, I'm the one posting all the stuff on my Facebook, just like the PSAs and stuff like that. I don't even use my Facebook for anything else besides looking at objective personality memes and posting about like Black Lives Matter and stuff like that.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's very NF for sure.
Yeah.
But you were typed as consume first, meaning they saw you as an ST reporter. So where is that ST reporter coming from?
I think they were talking about it as just how I'm talking whenever I was giving them the like interview video. I was going through the different questions and I was giving them the step-by-step answer for each of them.
I see. So you're giving the facts, you're reporting the facts.
Yeah.
I see. And that's what they saw you do the most, you know.
Yeah.
So even though it doesn't have the intensity of your NF blast, it was what you were doing the most.
Right.
Right. Okay. Now let's go to the big one, the play last. So you are play last. That means you're SF last. So what
Yeah.
kind of life problems have you had with, having play last or SF last or low energy? So just talk about that.
My roommate, the one that I was talking about before, the female roommate, she is SF first. She's always about like brand names and wanting to be popular at stuff, and I'm just like, that is the dumbest thing that I could think of wasting my time with.
Right.
Like, I don't understand wanting to have like super expensive shoes or clothes when any other clothes or shoes can get the job done.
Right.
Yeah. So as for problems, I'm not even sure, other than not having a lot of energy. That is a big problem for me. Yeah, I spend a lot more time in my head than I do like in the real world, I guess.
Do you have problems having like a back and forth interaction with other people?
Sometimes I guess sometimes I misunderstand what the interactions mean, and that could be problematic. And sometimes I just have trouble communicating. I'm sure that can be seen with all the ums and likes that I've said in this interview.
Right. I can relate to you a lot with that SF last, because that's also like one of the problems I've had growing up was like, I disrespected like what's cool, essentially.
Right? It's like, what makes this cool and this other thing not cool?
Right. But like there was a time in my life though, like in my like mid to late 20s where like I went all into SF just to see what would happen. I mean I didn't know about op back then, but I was just like curious to see what would happen. So like I started like working out a lot, like getting really like jacked, like really getting like ripped in the gym. And I started like dressing really nice and stuff. And then like I think for me it was like the most annoying like discovery in my life was because I was like, people took me more seriously that like I looked good than when I was smart and I knew stuff. Like
that's awful, but I also see that too. Like whenever I'm more in shape, I do like, I guess for a like woman, the more in shape means like the skinnier and like more stereotypically beautiful kind of thing. Like if I wear makeup, then I am more likely to get called back for like a second interview than if I go in without makeup and I'm like, makeup is so expensive.
Yeah. Yeah, but I think I learned that you have to like respect reality, and if that is the reality of things, you gotta play the game, right? Like so,
right.
So it's annoying, but you gotta do it, right?
I actually do own some makeup. I just don't use it very often.
Right. Well, that's kind of interesting that you also noticed the same thing. Like you did get better results by just doing even a little bit of SF makes a big difference, right? So.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
Yeah, my roommate, she's very masculine, so she doesn't like makeup, but she likes things that are more traditionally masculine, like the sport shoes and the Supreme shirts and stuff like that is what she likes.
So she's SF lead, but she's like a double masculine SF lead, I guess. And
well, I don't know if she's double masculine. I haven't actually officially put my thumb down on her type yet, but I just know that in general she's masculine. Like for a while she was thinking she was trans male.
Yeah.
But then she was like, no, I just don't care. You can call me whatever, but I'm gonna just like what I like. So I think she's FI and not FE.
Right. Okay, that makes sense. So I guess she's still identified as a woman, but it's just like she's a very masculine woman then. Like,
yes.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. Yeah. Okay. From my perspective, like I can see that like your interaction is actually pretty good. So that it seems like that's not your problem with play. Your problem with play seems to be low energy and SF.
Yeah.
Yeah, SF in the
Definitely.
yeah, yeah. So because I find that interesting. Like when I got typed by Dave and Shan, they said that I can use sleep. I'm sleep last, and and they said that yeah, you can sleep process your emotions. It's fine. But they're like, what you need to work on is prioritizing and SF. I was like, okay. So like what I'm discovering now, like, cause like, before, like in the early days when people were getting interviewed or people were like reporting their type, they're saying, I'm missing sleep or missing play, and you're not missing it because a lot of people can
yeah, everyone has it, but
yeah,
you just aren't as good at using it yet.
right. And a lot of people can actually use it. It's just that there's like aspects of it that they have trouble with, because if you look at
Yeah.
like let's say look at you, right? You have play. So play is like back and forth interaction. That's one. Number two,
Mm-hmm.
that's energy expenditure for the tribe and energy expenditure in general. And there's also in your case it's SF, right? So
Right.
1 out of 3 seems like you're okay, but the other 2 out of 3 is like kind of like what you have issues with.
Yeah.
You have like partial use of it, and then you're aware of like that problem. So that's work in progress for you as well. And then the energy
Yeah.
thing, I feel like you just have to do some like I think you should like do some cardio like every day or something.
Right.
Like
Yeah, doing this big move has helped me work out a little bit more. I like taking long walks outside now, and I just got my COVID test back and I was negative, so I'm allowed to go outside again.
right. Have you
Because
so I work in the fitness industry, and I've had a lot of clients that are mopies. Like they're like
mm-hmm.
sleep consume sleep, and they're like lethargic as hell, and but like I
Yeah.
noticed that when I start doing like high intensity interval training with them on a regular basis, they just become more extroverted all of a sudden. They become more social. They become more energetic. They actually tell me they feel a lot better. They're less depressive. Um, so, have you ever experienced that in your life where there was a period in time where you did a lot of like high intensity cardio and then suddenly you felt energetic?
Not high intensity cardio, but just cardio in general.
Yeah.
Whenever I work out just at all, I feel a lot better. The problem is getting myself to work out.
Right.
That's the big hurdle. But I think that's how it is with a lot of people who aren't used to working out.
Right. I mean, I work out, but I also struggle getting myself to work out. So I think it's like a human problem thing. Um,
Right.
but I would be curious to see what would happen to you if you did a lot of HIIT, like high intensity exercise, because play is all about like energy expenditure, right? And then when you do,
Mm-hmm.
that's like maximum energy expenditure. So I would be curious to see like how you would change, like energy wise, if you did it like 3 times a week, for example. Like I think
I could try it.
yeah, because I'm super just like I really believe that if you did it for like a month, like 3 times a week of HIIT, like if I talk to you again in a month, you'll be like more energetic all of a sudden, like
Yeah, I would be willing to try that out. And I guess we could try having a second interview, and I will have a better, quieter place because I'll have my room set up.
yeah, for sure. So I think what like a good thing for you to do would be like if you did like 10 reps of 10 sets of burpees like 3 times a week, like even like crappy burpees, I think that would like get you like massive results. I think.
Yeah, I'll have to look up how to do a burpee correctly, but I will do that.
Yeah, I mean there's different variations, so obviously build your way up to like the standard one, but there's yeah, just build your way up, but I think that's gonna get you like the best bang for your buck. And then
Okay.
yeah, talk about being an IP. So IPs are scared of tribe hate. Are you afraid of tribe hate?
I used to be when I was younger. I guess since I'm 35 now, I have since stopped giving a crap about how people perceive me for the most part. I have a harder time with strangers than with people of my actual tribe.
Do you think that you're not as scared of tribe hate because you've kind of integrated yourself with the tribe and you've made friends and you have coworkers and stuff and
Well, right now I don't have coworkers. I'm between jobs because I just moved. But in general, I do feel like having a nice, strong set of friends does help because I know no matter what everyone else thinks that I'll always have friends who'll back me up no matter what.
Right.
They're kind of like the chosen family.
Your chosen tribe.
Yeah, my chosen tribe, not the tribe that I was born with.
No. Talk about being a double observer. So technically you're balanced with organizing and gathering as well as control and chaos. So talk about that fine balance.
Well, with my organizing and gathering, that is definitely something that I feel is a strong point in general. Like, I'm very good at academia. I'm a very good student. I can get A's with very minimal effort just because I'm a natural studier. I guess that consume helps there. And the sleep also helps with studying. I'm good at figuring out what's going on, what's going to happen, at least for the short term. I sometimes do have trouble with that tribe self balance though, because I do, in terms of being a TI dominant, I do let the tribe, have control more than I think I would like otherwise. Like if I were masculine TI. I'm sorry, my brain is just like on tired mode right now.
Yeah, fine. Since you mentioned the problem that you have with the self and tribe access more, let's talk about you being an IP having people problems, because I'm an EP and I have things problems, right? So
right.
What is like people problems like? What is that like?
For instance, just as a small example that I still remember, even though it happened 2 years ago, it was Halloween, and so the teacher had like candy in one of my classes, and she was passing it around so everyone could have like 1 or 2 pieces of candy. And the person who was supposed to hand it to me got up and took it to the front of the class instead. And I was so annoyed by that. And then after, like during break time, since it was a college class, I went to the bathroom and I came back to get some candy out of the tub from the top or at the front of the class. And it was completely empty because somebody went and emptied it as soon as break started. And so I was just ranting. It was like a Python class, so I was able to do it online. So I was just ranting to my friends on Discord about how inconsiderate these people were, and how, even though I didn't really need candy, I could buy my own candy. It wasn't about the candy. It was about them being inconsiderate that was pissing me off so much.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so that's such a tiny, stupid little thing to be annoyed with.
Yeah.
But I've remembered it for years, like 2 years already.
Yeah. Oh my God, that's crazy with like the with the like the IPEJ people problem thing. Like I can't relate, but I think I think I respect it though, because I have my own issues that you probably think like that's not a problem. Like.
Oh yeah, we all do.
Yeah, because like I have things problem, right? Like I have trouble, organizing because I'm an EP. I have trouble, just like self-control, self-discipline. Like these are like the things that I struggle with. So, a lot of IPs probably think that's not a problem. But like, and you know what? I do think life is not fair, because like I was talking to other double deciders and we're like, you know what? If we had a choice, I think we'd still be a double decider, because people problems is a lot. I think it's like a lot harder, because like just like the things problem, you can kind of control it. Like.
Well, you can, but my ENFP friend had a lot of trouble with technology.
Yeah.
And it would just frustrate her, and she didn't really have a filter when it came to frustration. Yeah. So it would be a lot of like just rage out of nowhere, and then she'd get it out and it would be fine, and I'm just there like, the fuck just happened? What is going on? How do you do that?
Yeah. So for me, one of the times that I rage is like when I put the groceries in the back seat of the car, and then I hit the brakes and they all fall on the floor. and
yeah.
Then I started raging like crazy, and I started to try to fix it while I'm driving. And then my
oh,
girlfriend,
that could be dangerous.
yeah, it is. And then my girlfriend's like, "What are you doing?" Like it's and my girlfriend's been typed as an INTJ, right? Like a NIFI jumper INTJ. So we're supposed to be the opposite type. So she's
Aw.
scared of chaos and like I'm scared of like control and like and it's like we're like freaking out about like the groceries. It's so stupid, right? But
Well, it's like sort of Dave and Shan are kind of sort of in that same boat when it comes to like the jumper IJ and the jumper EJ.
yeah, I guess so. But
So I think y'all kind of would balance each other out.
yeah, it works. It works. It does work. I think Dave
Good.
and Shan, though, one is a double decider, one is a double observer. So there is like that.
Right.
Me,
Oh yeah. They have different like functions too, like different animal stacks.
yeah. So they're like what? They're EJ and IJ, right? Although
Yeah.
they're weird kind, like they're both the jump,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
like Dave's like the emotional kind of INTJ, which is like odd, like
Yeah, I don't even know. Like I could understand Shan a lot easier than I can understand Dave.
really.
Even though, yeah, Dave comes out as having the more confidence and Shan is definitely not good at blasting, I can still like relate to her more.
How so? Is it because of the people, the
I
people?
think it's the SE and then she's like ST and I'm ST, and so we can just kind of speak the same language.
Yeah, that makes sense. That
Yeah,
makes
so I like initially was talking with Shan before I talked with Dave. Um so yeah.
so maybe because Shan is SF second,
Yeah.
you can tell it's obvious that she's like she really
Oh
values
yeah.
because that Dave is technically SF last also, right? He with that consume last of his,
Right.
so he's kind of the same as us, like
Right. And then he definitely is that type that doesn't give a crap about what anyone thinks, or at least he says he doesn't give a crap about what anyone thinks.
yeah.
He probably does. Just a little.
I think he does if they are inside his NI box, but if they're not
Uh
in his NI box, then he doesn't care. So, what about you? Like, do you care about what people think of you who are inside your NI box?
um who are like inside my NI boxes and people who I already know and who I
Yeah,
already
yeah, exactly. People that you're friends with already, or family or
um
whatever.
yeah, I used to a lot. I used to care a lot. Like I used to be a smoker, but I hid it from my family because I didn't want them to judge me.
Yeah,
But I quit smoking and they still don't know that I was a smoker.
that's
So
fine.
I can't even brag that I quit smoking to them. But yeah, with my friends, if for some reason something happened that they did change their opinion of me for real, I think that would really hurt my feelings. I do have feelings. They exist. I don't like them, but they exist.
Yeah.
um, but yeah.
Oh, I noticed something very interesting about you compared to like other ISTPs that I've interviewed. Maybe because it's coming from a female perspective, but
Mm-hmm.
you find that you're more in touch with your emotions just because you're from like a gender expectation almost like
Probably. I probably just had a lot more practice with it
yeah
than a lot of people. Like, because also having that sleep up there near the top is, well, I guess my sleep isn't part of my feeling function, but I don't know. I just think that I have been expected to have a lot of emotional expression, so I just do because I guess with that tribe versus self mentality, it is trying to align myself with the tribe when I can.
did you have a lot of female friends growing up too, or was it a mix?
I did have a lot of female friends. I had a little sister who was also, I think she was an ISFP. I had a niece, and I don't know what type she is, but yeah, most of my friends in real life now are all female. Most of my friends online are female.
Gotcha. Okay, so I think maybe because you're around women all the time, you
Yeah.
like you kind of just absorb like
Yeah,
knowing.
It's that empathy going on there.
So they say that IPs struggle with empathy. Would you say you have empathy?
I say that I have empathy when I don't want empathy. Like sometimes I would like to be more detached. I have a hard time telling when to detach and when to empathize.
Right. That's probably a good thing because you're not like the sociopath ISTP, right?
Yeah.
Like, no empathy.
Oh no, I'm definitely not a sociopath.
No.
Life would be so much easier if I were, though.
Yeah, because I feel like one of my best friends growing up is an ISTP, and he's definitely a sociopath, right? Like,
right.
I even call him a sociopath. I'm like, you're a sociopath. You know?
How does he feel about that?
He'll try to deflect it, or like I'll be like, can you feel empathy? That's why I tell him, right? Because I'm double decider, right? Like, do you even have empathy? And he'll get really annoyed when I keep asking him this question.
Like, I've already given you the answer.
What's that?
Because he's already given you the answer. That's probably why he's annoyed.
No, because he didn't verbalize it. I want him to verbalize it. So
no.
I'm doing it for me. I'm doing it to self-abuse, and then like even one time he told me, like, it was like the most like randomest thing. He said, so he's like, I really want to know if I'm a bad person or if I'm a good person. Like, it's like, I don't know if it's like an IP thing or like it's just like a him thing, but like
it might be because my SF roommate, I think she is an ISFP, and she definitely has some sociopathic tendencies.
Yes. You know what? Like the person that he married, my friend's married now. I think she might also be a sociopath too. Like if I had to guess, I don't think she understands the point of view of the tribe as well. Like she's completely like what do you call it? What's the best word to use for this? Like oblivious of like how the tribe feels or thinks.
Yeah.
So I think it's like two sociopaths like got together and
that's probably for the best. They won't hurt each other's feelings as much that way.
Yeah, I guess so. But on the flip side, I have seen IPs that are also extremely empathetic. Like, so it seems like for IPs, it's like the extremes. They're either extreme sociopath, no empathy, to like extreme empathetic, really care about other people. So you seem to be more empathetic towards people. Like even though you.
Yeah. I wish I were less empathetic towards people. Like I said, it would make life easier, but I can't shake that empathy. So I just treat everyone with respect, and I treat everyone as an individual because that's how I want them to treat me.
They said that EPs and IJs struggle with fear, while IPs and EJs struggle with pain. And the pain of the IP is coming from the tribe. So what kind of pain would you struggle with that the tribe can inflict on you?
Well, with the like whole SF mentality of like me not aligning with what the tribe wants all the time will make it to where I have less of a chance to like get better jobs or get better pay or things like that. And I think that's stupid, but at the same time, I don't want to align with what the tribe wants of me all the time.
Yeah.
So it's like shooting myself in the foot when it comes to like my opportunities. Yeah. And so that is pretty painful.
Yeah, and I think the crazy thing too is you're aware of what the problem is, and you know exactly what the solution is, but you don't want to do it.
Right.
Yeah.
Guilty.
Yeah, I mean, I can relate to you because, like I said, I know that my problem is also SF. Like, if I just did a little bit of SF, because I've already done it before and I've seen the results of it, then my life would be so much better. But for some reason, I don't want to do it. Like it feels shallow. Like that's just
right. Yeah, it does feel really shallow. SF in general to me seems like a shallow animal, like a shallow combination of functions.
It is, but at the same time, if you look at it from like a human evolutionary standpoint, everything starts with SF. Like, does this fruit look good? Or like, or like, like even when you're dating, like that, right? Like you're looking for someone that like has the features that, that would make for a good like partner. But like, I had a question for you, but it flew out of my head. It's annoying. Oh yeah.
Oh no, you're fine.
So you are feminine, masculine. Talk about being visual. like a visual learner?
Like another like just example of how I use my visual learning is when I was in a biology class. It was a genetics class. We had to use like what we called worm picks. So they're little like hooks that you pick like Cinerian elegans, like worms out of a little petri dish so you can look at them under a microscope. I really sucked at it a lot the first time I tried it. I went home, thought about it, visualized myself doing it. Like I could literally see and feel my muscles moving and doing it, even though I was just completely still. Went back the next day. I was a total pro at it.
Oh, wow.
Just, yeah. All it took was visualizing it and like doing it in my head for me to have like real life results with it.
That is so cool. That is like a good superpower to have.
Yeah, that is my superpower, and I am happy that I do have that.
I have interviewed I think people with SI lead and or SI savior and who are visual. And they told me that they can screenshot like their textbook, you know, like.
Oh yeah, I have a hard time doing that when it's just like textbook, but if I'm writing my notes, once I write my notes, I can analyze them in my head like taking a test. I can flip through my notebook in my head.
Oh my God, that's like a superpower. No wonder you're getting like a lot of A's in school when you were.
Yeah, with minimal effort.
Yeah, that's bullshit. That's a bullshit power. Yeah, I was so bad in school.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were talking about how intuitives, like just in general, tend to have a harder time like struggling to make their A's instead of just scraping by with A's.
It wasn't like I was bad at all the subjects. It was like specific subjects. Like I remember in college, I have a really low GPA, right? But you know, you heard of the 80-20 rule, right? Like 20% of your problem comes from, 80% of your problem is coming from 20% of the things that you do.
Yeah.
So if you really look at my classes and my grades, if you just remove 2 of the classes I took, because there was 2 classes I took in college that I had to take like 3 or 4 times to get a C minus. If you took out those 2, my GPA would be pretty good actually, because it's just those 2 that like ruined me. And those 2 classes is economics, like macroeconomics and microeconomics. And
okay. So both the economics were the ones that were struggle.
Oh, sorry, there's three courses. So microeconomics, macroeconomics, and statistics. So those 3 classes like ruined my entire college, because like my other classes, I got A's and B's, right? But those 2, oh my God, like holy crap, like.
Could you have taken them again?
Yeah, I took them 4 times, and I got the best I got is C minus, you know, like.
Well, at least it's passing.
Yeah, but
yeah,
but the first
I knew somebody.
Yeah, the first.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, sorry.
Oh no, go on.
No, I was just saying, like, you know, I got like an F, a D, a C minus, and a C minus. You know, that's what I got, right?
Yeah, I had a similar problem with history, actually, just because it's so intensely memorization.
Yeah.
And once I figured out that I could, if I write down everything from the lecture, like just take it down exactly as the professor said it, and then just spit his words back at him in the test, then I could pass it with an A.
Wow.
But it took a couple times for me to take that course before I realized that. But when it comes to something like statistics, like I was the student instructor in my statistics class was graduating the semester that I took it, and the professor was like, "Do you want to be the new student instructor? It's a paid position." I'm like, "No, thank you, but no, I've got stuff to do."
I thought you get paid.
But yeah,
you didn't want to do it for money.
Not at that point in my life. I didn't want to get paid to do a job that would have given me a headache, and I would have had to take the course every semester, take the exams all over again just to keep qualified as the student instructor.
Really?
Yeah. Which I guess wouldn't have been terrible. It would have been pretty easy to do since I'd already gotten my A in the course. But I just didn't want to.
I think your ST and NT really like kills it for that statistics, like
Yeah,
yeah.
I really do think that.
Well, I mean, for me, when I took the course called Business Presentation Skills, it was like the easiest A I've ever gotten. Like I just stood up in front of the class and like I spoke because I'm play blast, right?
Mhm.
And then people will go up to me and be like, "How did you do that?" I'm like, "I have no idea." Like it's just like, so I feel like everyone has like an innate like power, like based on their personality type.
I cannot do presentations for the life of me. My brain just goes completely blank.
Yeah.
And like when I was doing presentations, like in my Italian class, sorry, I must be near an airport. But yeah, I just couldn't think in English, let alone in Italian.
Right.
Yeah. And then you always have that extra little step in your head when you're trying to translate as you're speaking when you're not fluent level yet.
I think it's your blast and play and your as your demon. So
Yeah.
I noticed that people who have maybe blast last, but they have play like pretty high up, they can still present pretty good. Their presentation will just be like a play presentation, right? Instead of like a blast presentation. So I think you definitely had that going against you. Having that two demons at the back end.
Right. Oh gosh, that is another problem I have if I ever have to do presentations. Sometimes I can get away with it if I am really completely knowledgeable about the subject and I just know it so well, but I can't just fly by the seat of my pants when it comes to that.
Have you tried Toastmasters before?
No, I haven't.
You know what it is, right?
No.
Oh, Toastmasters is like a public speaking club. It's like an international organization. So they have it in every country in the world, pretty much. Except maybe like those sub-Saharan African countries. The war zone.
Yeah.
But like yeah, you go there and like they teach you how to do prepared presentations and improv presentations. So they'll put you on a spot. You have 2 minutes to talk about something that you don't know what the topic's about, and and I've seen people who are like super introverted get really good in a short period of time with just some practice. So
that sounds like a nightmare class or a nightmare.
Well, I mean, they're very supportive. They're really nice, right? So
okay,
they should give you like a sandwich method for giving you feedback. So they'll say like one good thing that you did, one area of improvement, and one good thing that you did. That way you can improve on that one thing, and then every time you come, there's always like that one new thing that you can improve on. And by the time like after 1 year of going there, you were like, oh my god, I can talk like a normal person on stage now. Like.
Do they do it through Zoom?
No, you have to do it in person because it's like it's like a meeting. They want you to do it in a meeting format. So
okay,
if you had to do it like in a business setting where you have to present in a board meeting, or it could be like a wedding where you have to do like a wedding speech or something. Regardless of the situation, they have like a practice for you that they can give you. And there's like a lot of people that went there that have testimonials where they said like before they went they would be shaking. They couldn't get the promotion at work because they couldn't speak up in front of an audience. And the moment that they could speak up in front of the audience, they got a promotion right away. So it's like
maybe I should do that.
yeah, because then you're seen as a leader, right? Whenever you present, like the person that's presenting is the authority figure, and if you are presenting on a regular basis, people start seeing you as like the guru or the authority figure on this subject, and suddenly you are just in a brighter light. I mean, you can argue there's a lot of people who consume last and they're just blasting, they're just making shit up, right? But but they're still seen as an authority even though their information
that bothers me so much.
Yeah.
Like whenever I hear the presenter and they're not knowing what they're talking about, I'm just like, I could do this better than you, but I can't because I can't present as well.
Someone told me recently, I forgot, I think it was someone I interviewed. They told me they had an INTJ friend that is consumed last, and the INTJ friend even disclosed to them that they'll give out false statistics and facts and numbers and figures just because people like to hear them, pull them out of their ass and
wow.
So since we're on this topic, I want to ask you about being info dominant. Like, how important is it for you to have the most accurate information?
It's incredibly important because you can't really make any, you can't make decisions on falsified information, which is another reason why I have so many fights with people over political things,
Yeah.
just based on falsified evidence or people getting their information from, I don't know, some random website that hasn't been vetted.
I think there are times in the past where I was looking at like some INTJ bloggers, and they would be talking about a subject with so much confidence, and then people would call them out on it, right? Saying that you're not right. So they would provide citations of where they got the sources, and I would read the citation. I'm like, this citation has nothing to do with what you said, what you're saying here on the claim. Like I'm not shaming. I like them a lot, but the consume last one, like sometimes you have to be careful with what they say because maybe it's not real. Like Dave is consume last, but he's at least trying to consume, right? Like he's aware he's last and he's trying his best.
Yeah, and he has Shan there to help with the consume, just like he helps with the blast part of their duo.
Yeah, and well, the thing is though, they're both energy dominant, which I think kind of makes things tough for them because like.
True.
Yeah. So, do you freak out then as an info dom when the moment you hear something that is false, like someone said something is completely not factually correct, and
I'm the one calling them out.
Right. I guess you're masculine. FP.
Yeah.
So how does that like play out? How does it look when you call them out? Like, let's say someone picks it up,
I don't know. I don't think about how it looks. I just want them to have the right information. I have had professors annoyed at me before when I like raise my hand and tell them what they're doing wrong. And yeah, that never gets you brownie points when you're in academia.
Yeah. Yeah, that's not SF.
So yeah, I don't really think of how it looks. I just do it.
Okay. What about your problems with energy? So because you're not energy dominant, do you find that energy management is difficult for you? Like you crash really quickly because you don't know how much energy you have?
Yes, I tend to, whenever I'm doing something like a workout or moving or something, I will think that I have more energy than I do and just push through it. And then by the time I'm done, my knees will be all like jelly and I'll be like, oh, how did I get to this state? And I'll go without eating sometimes.
Oh my God.
Like I try not to, but if I'm busy with something, I don't think about it. And then I'm like, wait, I've been hungry for like 4 hours.
Oh, Jesus.
No wonder I have a problem with energy.
Yeah, I know, it makes sense. I'm a play blast crackhead, but like, because I have FISI, I'm always aware of how I feel. So like when I'm hungry, I eat right away,
I do when I'm not busy.
No, even when I'm busy, I'm aware that I'm hungry, and I would like, scarf down a food in like 2 minutes just to get that energy, in, right? I have more trouble with like sleeping at night. Like I have trouble sleeping because I'm still sleep last, so sleep is an issue. But yeah, I did meet like I interviewed on a play last ENFP before, and I met her in person too. Because I traveled to Finland to visit a friend.
Oh, that sounds fun.
And she was in Finland, so we met up in the library, and we were chatting. I'm like, you seem like you know how to use play a lot, kind of like how you're doing it right now. You're like using play no problem, like interacting with me in a back and forth manner. And she's like, yeah, I have no problem interacting with people. It's just that I crash because I don't know how much energy I have. I just crash, and I'm like, she can't move. She's out of energy.
Right. I've fallen asleep at parties before.
That's funny.
Because like it's so overwhelming being in a party anyway for me. Like I really am not a party person, and so when I'm there, I'm just like, okay, what now? I'm been outside for a long time. I'm going to go inside. Okay, now I'm overwhelmed again. I'm going to just curl over here and nobody will talk to me if I fall asleep. And then I do.
When you drink alcohol, do you find that you can use your blast and play a lot better?
Yes. I haven't had alcohol in over 3 years, but when I do drink alcohol, I become a play blast crackhead.
That has always been so fascinating to me. It's such a weird phenomenon. When I was in college, one of my friends, I think she's an ISTJ double masculine, and she's like, when you talk to her, it's not a pleasant conversation. It's not a back and forth conversation at all. It's just like I say something and then she'll tell me something and then I'll say something and she'll say something. So it's like you're taking turns blasting to each other, right?
Right.
Not like, an interactive play conversation. The moment she drinks alcohol, she starts using her NE all of a sudden, and she's like being like an NE crackhead, which
oh, that's fun.
Yeah, but she doesn't do it at all when she's sober. Only when she drinks alcohol that NE crackhead comes out. So.
Yeah, my best friend is actually an ISTJ. She definitely has masculine SI, and I'm pretty sure she has masculine FI too.
Yeah, and then what happens?
She doesn't drink, so I don't know how she drinks, but I'm just like, we definitely have some interesting conversations that are more of a running commentary than a actual conversation.
Gotcha. So one of my friends in real life is an ENTP, I think, and I think she's play last. She freaks out about being controlled, and she's obsessed with freedom. But I think she's play last. So she loves traveling like I do, and she's been to over 100 countries. And one of the things that makes people get really mad at her is she never tips anyone. She never gives a tip.
Oh.
Ever, no tip. So she'll go to like an African country. She'll do like an overland safari tour, from like South Africa all the way to like, I don't know where she went, like Kenya or something, or even further up, like Rwanda, I think, or Uganda. And she would not give us a penny of a tip. And the whole tribe is upset at her because, these African people are working hard. They should get a little bit of tip. She's like, nope, they're getting nothing from me. She's like, it's a responsibility of the tour operator to pay them the proper amount, and I'm not going to give them any money. But then you think about it, you're like, the tour operator can't make a profit if they pay these people a lot more money, from like a realistic standpoint. That's not
how. And they aren't going to get paid very well in general, so it's like the tips are everything.
Right. So, but she gives no tip, right? So like she's getting.
She needs to work in food service.
She doesn't want to. She doesn't care what people think.
She still needs to work in food service and have that experience of somebody not tipping her. Then she'll be like blaming the other person.
Perhaps. I guess so. Yeah. So have you worked in food services then? For you to bring
I have just briefly. It didn't sit well with me because I had trouble remembering people's orders. So yeah, I worked briefly at like a restaurant in Austin, Texas. And even before that, I was big on giving people tips, but having that experience firsthand really opens your eyes to how essential the tips are for these people getting a living wage.
Right. There was a time in my life where I worked in a restaurant. I was the delivery driver. I delivered like pasta and pizza to people's houses. But in that same place, it was like the weird time in my life where me and my two sisters were all working for the same company. So my youngest sister was the host in the front. She's the one that like brought people to their tables and stuff. Took phone calls. And then my other sister, the one who got me and my other sister a job there, she was the server in the restaurant, right? Or the waitress. And my sister is an INFJ. And I think people with FE, I think they really take it personally when they don't get a tip. Like she would actually start crying when she doesn't get a tip. But like for me, when I deliver food and they don't give me a tip, like I'm not happy about it, but I don't take it personal. I'm like, okay, that sucks. That's just like, and then I move on, right? And like, I have coworkers who are like waitresses there, and they don't get a tip. They don't take it personally either. But like, they usually get a lot of tip. They're so like exuberant and like joyful, that they get a lot of tip in general. So I find that it's like the downside with FE is like there's like a part of you that expects like a reciprocal relationship, or like I did this service,
Right.
give me something. So do you find that you have like that kind of like the reciprocal expectation sometimes?
Sometimes, yeah, I do have that. Just because it's the polite thing to do.
Like I help
Yeah,
you,
and it's like,
kind of deal, like.
yeah.
So what do you think of like the manipulative ways of using FE? So I know a lot of ESFJs and ENFJs, they do this. And I'm not trying to shit on them, but you know, I'm just saying that they do it. I've seen them do it. So what they'll do is they'll take you out for lunch or dinner.
Mm-hmm.
What they're really doing is they're building up favor points with you, so they can cash in later to make you do something that you don't want to do at a time they're choosing, so that they can boost their social status.
It's like, for one, you can't really choose the time. That has to come from you, not from them. But at the same time, like, I understand where they're coming from. Like, but I did this thing. I didn't want to do this. It's like, did you express that you didn't want to do it when you were doing it?
Yeah. I mean, that's why they get like that self-loathing, right? Because like, well, let's say the IP doesn't want to reciprocate, right? You're like, I did this for you. You should do this for me. It's like, no, I'm not going to do anything for you. I don't want to do that. It's like, you know, and then they start getting like upset, you know, because you broke like the FE rules of conduct, right? Like, I do this for you, you do this for me.
Oh, sorry, my alarm is going off.
Oh, okay, no worries. There we go.
Okay, there. Sorry about that.
No, it's all good.
I'm also sorry that I'm doing this up and down wise and not sidewise or whatever.
Yeah.
Because I'm on my phone.
I mean, it's kind of obvious. No worries.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, some people do it that way. It's not a big deal. Whatever. Like,
okay.
I'm an EP. I don't care. You know, like.
Okay. All good.
Not like, I'm not picky with this kind of stuff. I don't care.
Sounds good.
I think I asked you all the questions already today. So Heather, I have two last questions for you, and we'll wrap up the interview. So the first one is, what advice can you give to fellow?
Oh, sorry, a train.
Do you live by like an airport, like a train station? Like, I do live
right by the commuter rail. I didn't think about that when I chose to sit outside. I just moved here this last week.
Yeah.
But sorry, what was the last two questions?
The first one is, what advice can you give to your fellow ISTPs on how they can work on that FE better? Because you seem like you're better than most male ISTPs that using that FE. So
yeah, I would just say pay attention to the people around you, and you know, if they're expressing some dissatisfaction, try to see what's going on. It might not be obvious at first, but you'll learn to use the skill a little bit better with practice. And I guess when it comes to feelings in general, just accept them. Everyone has feelings even when they don't want to.
Right.
I definitely would rather not have feelings sometimes, but they're here and they won't go away just because you want them to.
I think that's a good attitude to have towards it, is that you live with it, you know, you don't like, you don't reject it, you accept it and you live with it. And I think that's
yeah.
Thing. You know, it's kind of like with SF, right? Like at some point we both need to accept and live with it, you know, like.
Yeah, maybe I'll be wearing makeup next time we talk.
Yeah, that's right.
After doing some high intensity
some burpees.
High intensity interval training.
Right.
Yes, the burpees.
Right. Yeah, you'll be ripped next time I see you. Yeah, you'll look
I'll
like
try.
You'll look like a real ISTP, you know, like the ISTPs are supposed to be the fittest type.
Right?
Yeah.
I would love to be fit. I'm just so lazy sometimes.
You know, like, I wouldn't be surprised if you do get really fit really quickly, because, you know, I think.
Oh, I do. Whenever I work out, I build muscle really quickly. Yeah,
like if that's like a genetic power that you have, I would abuse it, you know, like, you know, you should be abusing it. You know, if you get fit quickly, like if it doesn't take that much effort to get fit really quickly, then why wouldn't you do it, you know? Because it's like an advantage, right? Like a career advantage, a social advantage, you know, it has like, you know, like personal advantage.
Yeah, probably help with my energy levels too.
Yeah, energy levels. You can do more. You look better. You feel better. Like it's all around win. Um, my last question for you is, what questions do you have for me about functions that you don't have? Because we have completely opposite functions. So do you have any questions about like other functions that you don't have?
I have talked with my ENFP friend a lot, so I have a general understanding of like just the NE, the FI, and all that sort of stuff. But when it comes to like, our animals will all be opposite too, right?
Yeah, I'm play blast. Play
Yeah.
blast, consume sleep. I'm supposed to be the
How
most.
is that? How is like having a lot of energy going on? Do you have trouble with like the opposite things I do, or some of the same things?
I had a weird upbringing. So when I was like between 21 to 24, I was really embarrassed of myself. Like I felt like, because I'm an EPEJ, right? So
Mm-hmm.
I was looking at my friends and I noticed that they all knew what they wanted to do with their life, what career path they wanted to do, and I was still clueless. And I felt like I was lower in the totem pole, because everyone seems to know what they're doing. They're so
Mm-hmm.
passionate about what they're doing. Everyone is also competent at what they're doing. So I felt like I wasn't competent at anything. I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. I knew who I was as a person. I just didn't know what I wanted to do. So because of the way I felt, I spent like 3 years pretty much just holding myself in my room,
Aw.
playing video games all day. So I was like, from the age of 16 to 24, I was a major video game addict. I just played video games all day, and I completely avoided people because I had that feeling of embarrassment and shame that I wasn't,
I've been there.
keeping up with what social norms is supposed to be like. And yeah, it wasn't until like, I think, like I kept failing in school because I was skipping class. It felt embarrassed being in class. I felt like such a loser too being in class. Um, I flunked out of like 3 different colleges before I have a diploma now. I never finished my degree. I dropped out of 4th year, but because of statistics and economics. Because I needed to get a C actually to move on the program. I could only get a C.
Oh.
Yeah, but basically, yeah, it wasn't until I was like 24. So actually, even though I'm a play blast crackhead, I spent like a good chunk of my life using sleep actually.
That could explain why you are so good at processing your emotions with sleep.
Yeah, I still remember like I was 22 years old and like I just finished this MMO. It's Final Fantasy 11. And like in the game, I was a guild leader, and in the game, I was like the high status guy. Like
Mm-hmm.
I was running the guild. My guild was so good. We beat all like the biggest like bosses that you can possibly.
Yeah.
We had like the best items. Like we're not the best guild, but we're like top 4, top 3 best guild, right? We had a really good reputation, and it was just like I still vividly remember. I turned off my computer, laid in my bed, looked at the ceiling, and I said to myself, in this game, I am the shit, but in real life, I'm a piece of shit. And
Oh, that's something you should never tell yourself.
I know, but like I felt like I needed to say that. So
Yeah.
and then like eventually, when I was 24, my dad had health issues, and it was like a wake up call for me. I'm like, oh shit, like my dad, all he wants now in his life is time to do the things that he wants to do with his life. He has a lot of unfinished business, and now he can't finish it, because he has like maybe 3 years to live. And here I am squandering it playing video games. Like, what the hell am I doing? So that like got me like the kick in the ass that I needed. And yeah, and later on I did realize, oh my God, I'm very extroverted. Like once I started practicing it, because I wasn't using it that much before. I was like really reclusive, right? Even though I'm play blast.
Yeah.
Like I just started using it a little bit like in college. And what I would do is, I would talk to the person in front of me, the person behind me, to my left, to my right. They become my friends. We go start hanging up after school. Like this is in college, people, college and university is harder to make friends, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because, it's not like high school, you see them every day. It's like you see
Yeah.
in the same class and then it's done, right? So yeah, I started
all
doing
my
that.
friends I've known in high school, I just keep them.
I'm the same as you. All my friends were like in high school. I didn't want to bother making new friends, but like like I said, when I was 24, I had a kick in the ass, and I was really good at it. I started like hosting like house parties. Like I went all in SF. It was really weird. House parties, going clubbing. It was so weird. Like, and then like I was like the SF school guy all of a sudden, and I was like, oh, this is like kind of fun actually, you know?
And that's when you were doing the working out?
Yeah, and then like I think that's like when things kind of started aligning with me because like I think I was watching like a David D'Angelo, Evan, you know Evan Pagan, the he's an internet marketer, and he used to give like dating advice for AskMen.com, and like anyways, he became an internet marketer, and he was giving some life advice in one of his videos, and he said, in life, you never know what's gonna happen 5 or 10 steps ahead from you, but you will always know what the next step is. So take the next step, and then the step after will illuminate, and you'll know what it is. So basically, for me, I was in college, and I was taking a course called Special Events Planning and Marketing. And I think that was one of the best courses I've ever taken because it was actually practical. Because one of the things I don't like about like post-secondary is a lot of the stuff you learn in school, right? So in this class, it was 100% practical. Like we had to do like an event, and we had to sell tickets, market the event, host the event. So there's operations, there's marketing, there's sales, like everything that is hands-on was there, essentially. Graphic design, you name it. So I was feeling that insecurity, like what I was feeling my whole life during that moment, where I was looking at all my classmates, and like this guy was the best at project management. This girl was the best at graphic design and and just marketing materials. This other girl in my group, the double masculine ICG girl I was telling you about earlier, she was best at operations. She was like a beast in operations. This other person was good at public relations, and I was like, what the hell am I good at? Like I have no talent. And then one day we had to sell tickets. I still vividly remember this. We made a booth in the hallway of the college. And I don't know what like possessed me, but I started like yelling at people that was walking by in the hallway. And they would, and I had like this power to like magnet them to our table. And I could like pitch to them and sell to them like our ticket, and they would buy it on the spot. And all my classmates like looked at me and they're like, what the hell was that? Where did that come from? I was like, what do you mean? It's like, you just sold this person a ticket. Like you just, like, it's a complete stranger. You just like pitched it, sold it, they bought it, they gave us the money. They're like, you have a knack for sales. Like you have like this, you have a career for this shit, I was like, really?
Yeah, I do not.
Yeah, and then like it's kind of like I'm just kind of explaining to you like the process how I figured out like this thing, right? And then all of a sudden I was like, I can sell, holy shit. And I sold like 10%, like I sold like a big chunk of the ticket. I actually like personally sold it. And then later on, I started working as a student employee for the school, and they got me a job where like selling like student calendars and paintings. I sold so much of it, And then like one of my coworkers, one of my classmates was overweight, and she's like, Hendrik, she saw that I was in shape, right? She's like, can you teach me how to like get in shape, So I took her to the gym. I started training her, and then she started losing weight. And then she's like, why don't you become a personal trainer, And then like people in the gym started saying, yeah, why don't you become a personal trainer? Because people were watching me train her. So I got my certification in personal training, and then my first big job actually was I was working in a commercial gym doing personal training and sales, and I was like number 7 out of 100 in the whole like province in sales.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and then that kind of like led to one thing to another, and I was like, huh. So as a play blast crackhead, I guess what I'm good at is selling and presentations and coaching people, So
yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, so that's my superpower, right? So and you have your own superpower too, with like your consumed sleep, right?
Yeah.
You're the best at like researching and like deep diving into something,
Oh gosh, even when I'm just casually watching something, like I was casually watching BBC Sherlock, I was deep diving into like theorizing about like the lighting in certain episodes.
But I feel like you can also deep dive in blast and play if you practice, because I've managed to like when I first moved out of my home, because I'm kind of like you, I didn't believe in my parents' value system as well. I went deep dive in consuming sleep. I went to the library and borrowed like shitload of books, and I created my own systems too. So like if I can do it, I feel like you can do it.
Yeah.
Last play. Yeah. Like you have it in you to do it. It's just practice, right? At the end of the day.
Right.
Yeah,
because it's stuff that we all have already. So yeah, just like I was giving advice on how I was going about, practicing my FE earlier.
yeah.
I just have to keep giving myself that advice and practice what I'm not good at yet.
Yeah, and the fact that you're like FE so good, like it's not the best. Obviously you're still an IP, and you're still gonna run out of energy. Play last, blast is still gonna be hard for you. But the fact that you're good at like sensing the feeling of the people around you, and a lot of ISTP males can't even do that. Like that shows them kind of like how far they can go just by watching you, like having that ability,
Yeah, part of it's just paying attention and just caring about, how you're affecting other people. Although sometimes I am bad and will intentionally ignore those cues.
Yeah.
But I try not to be. I used to be a lot worse.
And I think the fact that you have like lifelong friends since high school means you've actually done a good job. Because a lot of ISTPs I've met, they've like there was an ISTP I spoke to recently. He said that he got kicked out of his elementary school friends.
Oh, poor thing.
He got kicked out, and I guess he was being a douche, right? Obviously, he's being a douche. Otherwise, you're not gonna get kicked out. You're not gonna get kicked out.
Yeah.
Like
yeah, I've never been kicked out of a friend group. I have kicked people out of friend groups, though.
That's funny that you kicked someone out.
Yeah.
What type was the person that you kicked out of?
Actually, no, I have been kicked out of a friend group before. I just don't think about it that way. I just thought about them as, being bitchy and stuff like that.
Oh, so you have, it has happened to you.
It has happened. I just forgot about it.
Yeah, you did have the tri-title wave, but your feminine SE forgot about it. Yeah, that's a good power to have that feminine SE then.
Yep. Because then I don't worry about it as much.
Right, exactly, because you forgot it even happened. All right, Heather, thanks for doing this interview.
Thank you.
It's been great. I think a lot of people is really gonna benefit from watching the unicorn ISTP.
Yep.
So thanks again, and I would love to hear your progress when it comes to that burpees and HIIT to see if your energy levels would actually go up.
Okay.
And maybe even public speaking stuff if you ever dwell or.
I'll look into the public speaking stuff, but I think the HIITs training would be easier for me to deal with.
Yeah.
Right now in my current situation.
Well, because the HIIT thing will give you more energy to try some other stuff later on too. So like your battery, right?
Yeah.
All right. So see you, Heather, and bye everyone.
See you. Bye.